Hello and welcome to the Perth Gaming Crew Show, episode 18. We are back after a few weeks off and we are catching up on some old news, but still fresh news, I would say, Pat. The Xbox showcase from a couple of weeks back and the recent Nintendo Direct. Welcome back, Pat. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, good man. It's been a hiatus, tell you what, but good to be back. Happy to be talking about some games again, hanging out with you. It's gonna be a good time, like you said. Absolutely packed with friggin' all the news that's happened in the last however many weeks. Really excited to talk about both showcases.
There's been so much going on. People of Perth and beyond, there's been over 300 or more games announced over the last couple of weeks. We know we've been off, but we are back to cover the two biggest showcases that we didn't cover yet. So Microsoft had a massive showcase, which the community is loving, and us too. So we're going to dive into that. We are going to touch on the Nintendo Direct as well, because there were a couple of kind of big key announcements that we really liked out of that as well. So we're going to try and squash them all into today's episode. But let's start. Overall impressions from the Xbox showcase. I loved it. I thought it was freaking fantastic. For long-time viewers, listeners, you've seen us go, what is going on with Microsoft and Xbox? Where are they at? They're in trouble, especially when they were like, we're going to lose the console wars about a month ago. Red fails, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was not looking good. They were going down the graph and things are looking very bad. But this showcase, oh my God, very impressive. Just lots of stuff that we wanted to see. So I might just rattle off some names to start with, Pat. Like, we saw a lot of Starfield. We saw Fable, including some gameplay. We saw Forza, of course, for the driving fans out there. They got a nice little snippet of a trailer just for them. We saw Avowed, which is just like a huge FPS kind of Skyrim type game that's being worked on. What else did we see? Oh my God, we saw a lot of stuff. There's just so much to cover.
There was a lot.
There was a lot.
There was a lot.
So we are going to focus on a few things, but Pat, what about you? What did you think were the highlights from this showcase?
Well, much like you, I thought this showcase was an absolute redemption tool for Xbox, especially after Red Fail, after all that debacle, the dude coming out. Sorry, by the dude, I mean like
Phil Spencer. Yeah.
That's it, Phil.
Yeah, he's sounding positive these days. He's got some positive things to say now that he's had the showcase. But
good. Exactly.
He needed
him coming out, waving the white flag, basically being doom and gloom. So this was an absolute redemption tour for Xbox. I thoroughly enjoyed the showcase, much like you did. Certainly, I was telling you earlier that all I had to see was Fable, and then I was done. I was like, "Oh yeah, cool. This is gonna be a good showcase.
This is gonna look good."
Exactly. So I thought there are definitely games in there that. Look, I don't know if some of them, like for example, Like a Dragon and stuff like that, Fallout, Cyberpunk, they're not Xbox exclusives, are they? Like
no. Although I do like the announcement about Cyberpunk. Like I was like, God, that's looking good, and that is next gen exclusive. So but
exactly. But as far as the actual Xbox, what I imagine would be exclusives, Fabled and Starfield. It's just that's a winner. That's a winner showcase, and community response to it. Everybody's like, "Yep, fantastic." Everybody's loving it. Everybody's loving the Xbox Redemption tool.
Yeah, it's been looking like it's just nice to see them bounce back. Like we want these companies to succeed. You want your investment in the console to deliver returns. You want to play games, have something to be excited for. So this is Fable. There's this trailer. I don't know. To me, this was the standout for me out of the whole showcase. Pretty much number one or number two. It looked fantastic. So for long time, and short-term listeners and viewers, Fable has been like an Xbox staple from the original days. It's one of the original IPs. It dropped off quite a while ago. Nothing to be seen on the Xbox One. It's sort of been in development hell on and off over the years, and it's finally coming back. There was a tease for Fable a couple of years ago when close to when the Xbox Series systems were announced, and people were really just wanting to be like, show us this game, show us this freaking game. So they did.
Nice.
There's a little bit of CGI stuff in there, but there is also gameplay in there. The developers are confirmed. It looks neat as. Just from the 2-minute slither there, Pat, that we've been seeing. What was your reaction? What did you think, man?
I really liked it. I don't know. I mean, obviously, like the storytelling side of it, I thought was pretty funny. The whole what's that guy's name? It's like an actor.
Richard,
Richard
yeah, from the IT
Ayoade or
crowd.
something. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, from the
exactly.
IT
Yeah, yeah.
crowd. When you
It's him,
heard this
right?
voice, you're like, oh, it's him.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is
yeah,
him.
yeah.
And the motion capture's like, yeah, it's exactly
It
him to a
looks like,
T.
yeah, it looks like him too. So I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I liked the storytelling part of it. I don't know how much
Hmm.
of this we're seeing is gameplay. Did they ever
Yeah,
say?
so that you'll see like a couple of combat scenes in there, and
Just
the
quick
scenes
clips?
where
Yeah,
she's running away from him as a giant. I would
yeah.
say most is CGI pre-rendered, but that there is what
Yeah,
they're
that
talking
must
about
be
as
game.
combat gameplay, where they're
Yeah,
throwing those snippets in. It looks a bit like The Witcher in that sense, but
yeah, yeah.
the developers put up some screenshots saying, no, this is actually gameplay footage. It's a
That's
compliment when you're
good.
like, I can't discern between the two.
Yeah,
So
yeah, oh, absolutely. So, I've been a fan of the Fable series, like one of the like easily one of the first like PC games that I've played in the past. I loved everything about it. I was obsessed with Fable. Like it was one of those games where I'd come home from school and I would just play the crap out of it. So, it was
yeah,
really fun. So I have high expectations for this game.
yeah,
I don't care so much about the graphics. I just want that classic Fable storytelling and also just the gameplay.
yeah.
I don't know if you ever played Fable, but that was one of the first games where, like, well, I played where, like, you had to look after yourself. Like, you had to eat, like, if you ate too much food, you'd get fat, like that
Are you
kind of thing.
serious?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
knew I knew there was
Like,
like quirky character stuff there,
yeah,
and you could be like good and evil, which was kind of new
yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
But
If you
I never, yeah, saw
Yeah,
that stuff.
if you
Yeah.
didn't eat enough food, you'd get really skinny. Like like if you got hit, if you keep getting hit by monsters, like you actually get scars. So like
Oh, cool.
so like if you get hit in the face, like you'll get a friggin' like, and then you can't get rid of it. So it's like you have to actually try and look after yourself if you want your character to remain looking, neat and respectable,
Yeah,
I guess.
in top shape. That's so funny. You kind
Yeah,
of playing
yeah.
as a
So
gamer, going like, "Oh, I gotta like look after myself," feeling really self
yeah,
conscious.
yeah, exactly. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, I may have gotten some parts of the mechanic, but I know it
Yeah.
works like that. So if it's anything like that, I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy this. So I'm very much looking forward.
I think that's the vibe they were going for. Like, what struck me was the humor about this whole trailer. Like,
Yeah,
they didn't just
yeah,
go like, "Oh, it's a fantasy world. We're bringing Fable back." It's like, "Oh no, it's actually really funny." And the way they told the story is like, we get the
mm,
audience. Like, this is not going to be a generic RPG. This is going to be a
mm,
silly kind of fun romp. So, nah, I love it. It looks really cool.
mm-hmm.
A huge win for Xbox. So again, there's no date on this one. Probably more than a year out, I'd say. Probably a big one for next
Yeah,
year or the year after. But something exciting to look forward to. It's kind of like I think, like a Breath of the Wild or God of War reveal.
woo, good call.
Extend
Yeah,
for Xbox and go like, hey, here's something you should look forward to.
yeah,
So a big one there. No, looking good. So there was heaps revealed. The next one we're going to have a quick look at is Avowed. So this game
let's see.
had a trailer about 3 years ago. This is the first proper gameplay trailer. There were some mixed reactions. Some people thought it was a bit bright and colourful. I quite liked it. Yeah. Obsidian did the Pillars of Eternity games, which are the isometric top-down kind of
Mm-hmm,
D&D type
mm-hmm.
games. Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, same universe, but this is the first time they've done a huge project like of this scale, first-person perspective. I mean, there aren't enough first-person perspective games out there, and I thought this just looked really good for what it was. Like graphically, it does look next gen. The developer again released some screenshots later to be like, no, this is how good it looks when you look at it in super
Yeah,
high
nice.
res compared to the
Yeah.
trailer. But I'm really excited for this because, I mean, first of all, it's an exclusive for Xbox fans. There's always like a market for people who are missing like Elder Scrolls, which like
Mm,
I still go back and play Skyrim and go like, there's nothing else like it.
mm.
To be clear, this is not a replacement or not going to be at that level. The developer Obsidian has said that, but it looks good for what it is. Like it looks like it's like hey, there's some first person stuff here. So a lot of this stuff is cinematic, but they do come into the gameplay shortly, and it's just like, oh, this looks really cool. So this interests me. I think if you this kind of adds to the whole credential of if you're looking for those first person Western RPG games, then it's worth looking at the PC. Like they've always been kind of PC, lived on the PC, but Xbox is the home of these kind of games as well. But Pat, what are your thoughts? Just like checking out this trailer now, like what do you think?
Yeah, I mean it looks pretty cool. I
Yeah,
like the spell casting bit there, and like you said, it's very reminiscent of like playing Skyrim in first person.
yeah,
But yeah, it looks it like I'd probably get this. Like this looks exactly like the type of game that I would play. So
yeah. The
um,
combat's just like Skyrim, isn't it? Like that sword
yeah,
play and like
yeah. Do you know if is it first person only, or can you do
I
like third person?
they so they haven't shown third person. I would be surprised if it was third person, just because the original reveal and this reveal have shown first person and focused on that.
Mm,
And I think that would be good for this game because that would kind of differentiate it from the flood of third person fantasy
yeah. Okay.
RPG games
Yep.
out there.
Yep.
That's the impression I've got from the original trailer years back and this trailer anyway. But yeah, it's sort of. I think it looks kind of exciting. It looks kind of
It
interesting.
looks very cool. It looks very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I said, it looks like the type of game that I would play.
yeah,
As long as it's got, I don't know much about the story. Um, I I like a compelling story, like a compelling high fantasy sort of setting story, as much as the next person does. But Obsidian have been pretty good with what they've done. Like you said, the Pillars of Eternity
yeah.
games.
Quality storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. Absolute quality. So I have no doubt that this will hit. Like it may not be a super. Oh, actually, you can't even say that
Yeah.
because it could come out and
No,
everybody
but
be
I know
like,
what you
"Oh,
mean. It doesn't
dang!"
look like it'll be like
Like,
a super banger. Like it's
yeah,
not going to
yeah,
be
yeah,
like Fable, but it does look like just a really good game coming out on the
yeah,
console. It's
yeah,
like that's actually a really cool console to get now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it looks cool. Like this would be one of those games where I would be like, you're looking for a game to play, to satisfy the high fantasy itch that you've got. I mean, that's cool that they got guns there as well. Like,
yeah.
I mean, so it's a lot. Yeah, it looks very. Yeah, looks like the setting is cool. Like watching the trailer now, obviously.
Mm.
So this is kind of a reveal for me because I didn't actually watch this trailer. So it's like,
So, gee,
yeah,
man, like a lot of
combat
people
looks
haven't. Yeah.
if this was snippets of the gameplay, like the combat looks awesome.
I know it looks fun. It reminds me of
Yeah,
like when you just like you
did
shout
spell
people off
casting
a
stuff.
cliff, and
See,
the
yeah,
spellcasting
yeah,
looks
yeah,
amazing. Just the intricacy of it. Hey,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we were talking about like Immortals of Avium a few weeks
yeah.
back
We
about
were,
PlayStation, and it just looks so generic and dull, even though it looked real
yeah,
graphically. Well, to me, maybe it's a bit nasty, but I was just like, oh, but this actually looked unique and interesting, and kind of hit that Skyrim vibe that I was wanting from a first-person
yeah,
game. Yeah. So
yeah. No, that's cool.
that's Avowed. One I'm sneaking in here that I haven't told Pat
Oh,
about was I couldn't help myself. This is just because I wanted to hear your take about this too. So Sea of Thieves was something on the original Xbox and PC that was one of the few exclusives to the Xbox One that was kind of worth getting. And they've been releasing a lot of content for this series recently. Pat, have you seen much of the Sea of Thieves stuff, or do you know much about it? Or
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't like this. I want to say this game has a cult following, but I feel
it's
like
got a huge like
I
user
feel like
base of like
yeah, it's not even a cult following. I feel like it's not mainstream, but it's definitely a powerhouse.
yeah,
Like
it's got like
people,
millions of like users who just play
yeah,
like Sea of Thieves, like
yeah,
so
like
they're out there.
people still play the shit out of this game, and it's like
Yeah,
it's not even that recent. Like so,
yeah,
I guess yeah, it's just it is
yeah,
cool. I know about Sea of Thieves. I haven't personally played it,
yeah.
um,
No, me
but
too, man.
I see the appeal. Like I see why people would play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I'm the same man. I haven't played it either. This kind of stood out though, just because the collaborative. So the
Yep.
collaborative based approach they're doing to this series is incredible. There was a previous season released where it was based on Pirates of the Caribbean. So you see
Hmm.
like Jack Sparrow, and you see all these kind of really interesting
Yeah,
characters from that universe. And now they've
yeah.
released this one. So did you ever play the old Monkey Island
I
games?
did.
Like,
I did.
so that's what this is, and it's kind of like,
It's
hang
so
on, I have
cool.
played Monkey Island, like the point and click adventure,
Yeah,
like, and then when you see that translated into an MMO, it's kind of like, oh, that's freaking for me. That's
that is
freaking
cool.
cool. Like, I haven't even played this. I'm like, ooh, I would play
That
that
is
just
cool.
because I want to see the Monkey Island content.
Yeah.
Yeah, and likewise for Pirates of the Caribbean. But I thought like that is a little kind of morsel for again Xbox PC gamers to be like, this is another exclusive. Like
Hmm.
this is an ongoing game that's massive. So yeah,
Yeah. And
interest. Yeah, go ahead.
Sea of Thieves is a powerhouse, dude.
Yeah,
Like it's not like
not a
it
tiny
may
little
not be
game that no one plays, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, it may not be extremely mainstream, but like it's I know a lot of people play it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's big. So there's something out there for all those fans, like keeping those fans happy. One more that I did also want to sneak in. I did tell Pat about. This is not usually for me. Maybe I'm
Sneaking
showing
in.
my age, but this
What
actually
is this
appealed to
one?
me.
Let's see.
So this one is Flight Simulator. So there is more. I may be the only fan out there for Flight Simulator, but hear me
Nah,
out.
man. Nah, the flight simulator. People love this shit. Like
Yeah.
people go in for this. Like I had an old I had an old workmate or one of my old bosses. He literally had a full PC setup just
Oh,
for
did he have
Fable.
like the stick
He
and
had
all that stuff,
he had
or?
the stick and he had the full like wraparound monitors
Yeah.
where it was just like it extended like his entire desk where it just like it wrapped around like this.
Whoa.
So
Cockpit style, like he
yeah,
was like,
yeah, exactly,
oh
exactly. Like
my
so he
god.
went in for this. He had the full joystick. He had like a specific machine designed just so he can play it at like optimal level. Like this,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah. I
That was
mean,
like the one game he plays, like that's like his Sea of
yeah,
Thieves.
yeah.
So it's like I play Flight Simulator, and that's yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it is cool because the amount of detail they do in this, like, so if you watch some of the flyover videos, like they fly over Perth and stuff like that,
Yeah. It's
it's
like
pretty
that's
damn
actually
accurate.
freaking.
Yeah, yeah,
How do
like
you draw all that? Like
yeah,
that's why I was interested in this. I was like, you actually have to put in all the effort to draw all that.
yeah.
Far out. So yeah, like this this kind of expansion is so that's the traditional flight simulator that you were talking about, Pat. And yeah, that does have its niche audience. What this expansion is looking to do is kind of bring in careers to flying. So yeah, like just like the
That's
showcase,
a good
flying
yeah.
around, flying as a jet fighter pilot through like mountains. This is storm chasing. This is like my
Oh,
alternative dream. Like
yeah,
flying around
that's pretty
tournaments,
cool.
taking photos. I was like, yeah, I could play a game that does that. No probs. No stress. No probs. Yeah, so I just thought this is probably one of the best looking games I've ever seen.
Mm,
It's a showcase game, and it's probably a game to show your family or people who aren't new to games. Like, by the way, if you can't go overseas but you want to go to Greece, go have a
mm,
look. You want to
exactly.
go live your dream and see what it's
Hmm.
like taking photos from the sky and all this stuff. Go do it. Just go do
Mm.
it. Yeah, but that's that. We did have one other big one, which we don't have footage for, but that is something we're going to cover a lot more later on. Starfield, Pat. We can't not talk
Oh
about Starfield. You saw
gosh,
the Starfield footage. There was like 6 hours of gameplay. Not quite that long. There was quite a lot.
yeah.
What did you think of Starfield?
Oh my god, it like if on release it looks as it plays and looks as good as it has been
Mm,
portrayed currently. Like
mm,
this is gonna be like a huge hit. It's gonna be a
mm,
huge hit because the game looks incredible. Like it fulfills
mm.
like it's gonna fulfill every single thing I pretty much look for in a game, which is just like graphics, like exploration, open worldy. Like this is just my personal ones, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm always so like games like Mass Effect. I love them because of the space exploration type of style.
Mm.
No Man's Sky was something I was really, 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 really was like excited for, but that turned out to be kind of shit. Um,
One man's lie, isn't it? That's what
yeah,
people
yeah,
refer to one man's lie. It got better
exactly.
over time, but it's like
It
no,
does, yeah,
it's too late.
but
It's
yeah, it missed for me. So
yeah.
something like what they're showing now for Starfield, where it's just
Mm,
like I specifically remember the dude saying like, "Oh, you see that moon like floating in the
Mm,
distance. It's like that's not a background. Like you can
mm,
go there if you really want." And that to
mm,
me was just like, "Oh, nice. Like
mm.
that's freaking cool."
Yeah, it's
Like,
like just go there. Like
yeah, just get on your ship
awesome.
and fly there. I'm just like, oh, okay, you're tickling me right now. Like,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I hear you. Like
yeah,
it was like that unique niche, like that unique thing that there's no other game out there that really does that well on a
yeah.
mass scale.
Yeah,
And
on that scale is the right word there. On that scale, because this
mm,
it sounds massive. Like they said, it's like thousands of worlds.
yep.
I'm really worried that it's going to be like No Man's Sky, where it'll be like, yeah, thousands of worlds.
Yeah,
It'll be like
yeah.
barren.
I
Like,
hear you too. It's like, oh, like, am I going to go to like 3 planets? They've got, hubs, they've got missions, they've got
yeah,
companions, but the rest is
yeah,
just you go there,
and
you
barren.
mine something,
Like,
and you're done. That's such
yeah,
a hard thing to pull off. I don't know how that is.
I
I
don't know
agree.
how
I
they're
feel
going
the
to do it.
same. How do you
Like you
do it?
said,
Like,
yeah, like you said, the scale is what's going to be the
yeah,
most like the most difficult thing to pull off.
yeah,
But I'm really hoping they do because everything that I've seen about this game, the way the devs talk about it, seems like it's an absolute passion project. So
yeah.
I only want to, I want to share that passion because it does look amazing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if is it going to be on Steam?
Probably. I think it's PC, so it's Xbox PC. It should be on Steam. It'll be on
Yeah,
Game Pass day one.
yeah,
So again, PC, Xbox players are eating
yeah.
good. But I know
So,
what you mean about that, like that lack of, like if you get those big empty planets.
mm, mm,
So Todd Howard, who's like basically owns and runs Bethesda, and this
mm,
is like, this is my next big project. You loved
mm,
Fallout 4, you loved
mhm,
Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Here's my next
mhm.
one. He was talking about they are looking to fill these planets kind of with unique and random events. So you remember,
Mm.
like even in like Skyrim, you'd get like an assassin come up to you and attack
Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
or
People
you'd go
run.
over
Yeah,
here and there'd be a fight going on
yeah.
between the two different factions. I think that's the stuff they're going to put in the planets to
Okay,
make them feel organic,
that's
rather than
cool.
just rather than just land there and you're like, it's cool, but I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I
And
would
catch up.
expect that's the kind of thing. Otherwise, it'll feel like a shell, and you'll be like, you've got all those
Yeah,
planets you don't give a damn about, and 3 that are worth looking at, and you're like, oh, that was disappointing.
yeah.
So,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah,
I like that you can switch between first person and third person, and I
yeah,
think maybe over the shoulder, classic
yeah,
Bethesda. Like you can do the same with Fallout.
yeah.
Uh, so it's geez, it looks the
It looks
graphics from
good.
what I've seen it looks amazing. The
Um,
character customization, it's all
yeah,
there.
all the traits. I love all
Yeah,
the quirky
yeah,
traits
the
like you get
traits.
from
Yeah,
Fallout,
exactly.
all that
Oh,
kind of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
cool. Like I can't wait. Like this, like if this continues on this trajectory and
mm,
like nothing terrible happens on release, oh dude,
mm,
it's gonna be a massive hit. It's
yeah,
gonna be a
yeah.
massive hit.
Yeah, I agree. I think like it's going to do really well. And they released like a special edition, or they announced a special edition controller, which I've got my eye on. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
I
that looks
saw, and
looks
like a
freaking
headset.
awesome.
Is
Yeah,
it
a
a
headset
headset as
and
well?
a watch
Oh,
and a watch. Like you can get a watch that does stuff like similar to what they have in the game or whatever. It's like they've gone all in. They're like, you know what, Halo's done.
yeah, they're
Starfield is
putting
the new flagship. Like, let's move on. You
yeah,
know,
they're putting eggs into this basket. That's for sure.
they are. They are
Yeah,
apparently like, yeah, like they actually literally are too. Like they're getting a lot of their devs from Microsoft to go like, all right,
yeah,
go work with the Starfield guys. Let's make this
yeah.
work and make this
Cool.
dream. I think it'll deliver. I think it'll deliver,
I
and
think so too.
they reckon it's probably one of the least buggiest Bethesda games that's going to be coming out. Surprisingly,
Okay,
that's
that's a
from them
huge call.
themselves. It is.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
a
You don't put
huge
that out
call.
there unless you're going to risk that because the community's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
gonna go at you. You know, like
yeah.
so.
Some guy will be like challenge accepted and just
Yeah.
like start
Yes.
looking for bugs instead of playing
Exactly.
the game. Like
Exactly.
that's
It's so
that's a
true.
flex. That's a
It's
flex. That's a call.
that's going to be the first video that goes up on the internet, dude. It's like
Yeah,
challenge accepted, and it's just like 1,000 bugs on
yeah.
Bethesda, and
Oh
someone's
my
got like
god,
6 million views.
oh my god. Like, why would you say that? Like,
It's
that's well, what a call. What a
it's so
call. I mean,
true.
like you said, you're gonna be confident to put that shit out there. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
what the
they're
hell?
confident. They're confident. No, I think they're going for it, and I think Microsoft is also in a place where, like, look, Redfall is what it was. It was never going to be as big, but they're like, you know what? This is the biggest game we've got for like we've had for a while, and we're going to have for a little while. We're doing it, so they're pushing out the
Hmm.
gate, and hopefully they'll pull some gamers into this ecosystem, but we'll see. So there were a couple of other highlights like from the show. There was a game called Clockwork Revolution, which looked a bit
I
like
saw that.
Bioshock. Did you see that? What did you like? That
Yeah,
was kind of like a Bioshock kind of
yeah,
yes. Looked good, looked fine.
mhm,
It was like, yeah, cool, that's great. It's good they're doing
yeah,
other stuff. There was the Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk came out a few years ago. There's an expansion called Phantom Liberty that's
mhm.
coming in. It's going to be current gen only. It's got Idris Elba in there as a character. I was like, oh
Yeah,
my man, he's in there. That's awesome.
Idris Elba.
Like
Yep.
excellent. So that was cool. Like that's not Xbox exclusive, but I was like, for me, I'm interested in getting back into Cyberpunk. I never got into it.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, so
Oh,
buggy.
it's
But
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, have you? Oh man, I really want to get into it. So that looked good. Um, there was another flight simulator expansion, which was for the
Mhm.
Dune universe. That looked freaking cool. So
Mhm.
you get to fly an ornithopter based on the movies and the books. We've got
Mhm.
this part two Dune coming out later this year. And it was just, it's more of an experience. I don't think it's going to be like a 10-hour thing. It's probably like a couple of hours of flying around. There's, for those who love the Dune stuff, Xbox put out, well, Microsoft put out another video about how they actually built a life-size ornithopter to get the simulation in this
Wow.
game right. So there's
Yeah.
actually like, yeah, with one of the main influencers, Paris Lilly. Yeah, so check that out if you're interested. But there's heaps. But overall, Pat, like, how are you
That is
feeling
it.
about Xbox Game Pass, Microsoft? Do you feel like they're back in the zone, or do you feel like they needed to
I,
do more?
this is definitely a great step. Like this is a great step forward.
Yeah,
So providing nothing happens, nothing major happens, I feel like it's
Starfield.
definitely on the yeah. Like it's gonna be on the up and up. Like
Yeah,
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be
yeah.
good. A bunch of those games look amazing. We can't cover them all, unfortunately, because we're gonna
No, no. There's way too much. There's just way too much to
yeah
cover. Yeah, go check it
yeah.
out, peeps. Like if you want to, if you're a Microsoft gamer, go play it. What we are going to cover though, just briefly before we wrap out our shorter episode today, is a little bit about the Nintendo Direct. So, Nintendo was kind of quiet throughout the whole summer of gaming time in the States. So we saw like Capcom, we saw Ubisoft, we saw
Mm.
Sony, we saw Xbox Bethesda, we saw a bunch of the indie groups like Guerrilla Collective. I think Limited Run Games has something coming out soon. So there's most of that's passed. And I was like, what's going on with Nintendo? Are they just riding the Tears of the Kingdom wave? I mean, they are, and fair
Yeah,
enough.
they
Is
don't.
that
Well,
game
hey,
is like the second bestseller this year already.
dude. Yeah,
Why would
I
you
was
not
gonna say
ride that wave for like three
exactly,
years while you could? I would.
exactly.
Um,
If you're at Nintendo, you'd be sitting there like this right now.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, oh yeah, Starfield. Exactly.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Starfield. Oh yeah,
yeah.
whatever Sony announced,
Don't need
whatever.
to worry about. Yeah, don't need
That's
to worry
fine.
about it.
Just
Yeah,
I'm good for 6 years, and we'll bring out a
yeah.
new Zelda. Pretty much, bro.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
If I was the Nintendo CEO, I'd be like, you know what, everyone, you can take a week off.
Yes, you can take 3 years off, dude.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
good to go for a while.
Like revenue will continue, no problem.
Exactly that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
wow.
Nintendo did come out. They did put out something.
Yes.
We're not going to cover everything. We can't cover it all, but we are going to cover, a couple of the main bits and bobs.
Yes.
Pat, take the lead, bro. You know more about this series than me. This is one for the fans.
This is one for the fans. This is Super Mario RPG. Originally, as I don't know if you guys saw it at the start just there, but that was the original graphics from the Super Nintendo, where it's like a little bit pixelated, and then they had that whole transition into, the newer style graphics. Um, so I played this game on the Super Nintendo, and it was one of the first RPGs I played. Um,
Mm.
and like turn based combat, as you can see here. So it's like in the Final Fantasy
It's
style,
full on
where
like JRPG. It's just like
it's
Final
full on
Fantasy with
RPG.
Mario type
Yeah,
thing, right?
full on RPG. It's
Mm.
literally like you explore the world, you go to towns, you pick up companions. Like one of the dudes there was Mallow, who's like the squishy little white thing there. He's like your spellcaster. But
Okay.
what I really liked when I played this game was that even though it was turn based, it was the first game of this style that I played where it how do you say it, like it made like it's turn based, so if you click attack,
Mm.
your dude
Mm.
attacks,
Mm.
but you can make them like hit harder by like
Oh yeah, yeah,
timing. It's like
yeah. So it's
it's
like a
like
mix of
instant
real time
timing.
action as well, kind of
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
Paper
yeah. It's
Mario
like
series, where you're not just sitting back, but it's like now if I press it at the right time, I'm still engaged
correct.
in a
Yeah,
real time way of a.
exactly,
Yeah, it's like
exactly.
a blend of the two. I know that style.
Yeah,
It's yeah, they've done it with Paper Mario that
yeah.
series,
It's
yeah,
like
quite a
it's
bit.
like input timing. So if the enemy is about to attack you and then you
Mm.
tap it at the right time, you take less damage, kind of thing, because
Okay,
your dude blocks like that kind of thing.
okay.
But it's still turn based in that you select attack, defend, pardon me, magic, kind of thing. But this caught me off guard because I didn't think it was going to get remade, or at least I didn't hear anything about it. I thought there were whispers, but I wasn't
Mm.
sure how committed Nintendo was. Look, this is the original graphics right here.
Mm.
But I love this game. I love this game so
Mm.
much that this is an insta buy day one for me. I don't give a crap if it's.
Wow, you're
I
you're
don't.
going for it.
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't care if they release $120, like $120 on release. If they have the super special edition for 180, you bet your ass I'm gonna get that shit.
You know what? The good thing is, like in Australia, like this is like Nintendo does the cheaper kind of games, especially their first
Yeah.
party games, apart from Zelda. So like this will probably come out for like 69.90 or like
Yeah.
$80
Oh,
max. Probably
music to
less.
my ears. Music
Yeah,
to my ears. But
totally.
no, if you guys are a fan of RPGs and you've never like, it's crazy as well because it's like how do you make an RPG out of Mario?
I know it's kind of
But
weird, isn't it?
but they've done it well. They've done it
Yeah.
so well. It's amazing. Like John, if you're a fan of Mario, you will like this. Like you will like this game. I guarantee you.
Is it? I remember. So as a kid, I never played this myself. I remember reading about it. Just yeah, as a kid, reading like the Super Nintendo magazines. It was probably something I could have hired, but I don't know why I didn't hire it back in the days where you hire video games for like
Mm,
$4 for like 3 days or something. I don't know why I didn't. Um, but I know there's been like a lot of fan community hunger for this game, and
mm.
apparently the story is quite good and it's quite
The story is
funny.
good.
Like, is it
Yeah,
like genuinely not
yeah.
just like skins of Mario, but actually it's like this is its own thing. It's actually genuine JRPG, man. Like, is
Yeah,
that what? Yeah, yeah,
it's genuine as hell. Like you visit the
yeah,
towns, like you can see there, lots of different areas and worlds that you travel through. It's
yeah,
really cool, man. Like it's just such a good game, and it is funny. From memory, there's definitely they definitely tried to include humor in the dialogue.
yep.
You pick up your companions there just so you can play with, they join your party and stuff. I can't remember the story. I think it's something like maybe they changed it a little bit, but it's something to do with some big bad taking over. Like it's not Bowser. Bowser's not the big bad. I think
Yeah, it looks
Bowser's
like
like
Bowser's one of
yeah,
your
Bowser joins
companions
you.
next to a guy
Bowser
called
joins you.
Mellow who looks like a
Yeah,
marshmallow. Is that
yeah,
what's going on there?
Mallow.
Okay, okay. I was like, is that a
Yeah.
marshmallow? I see what you
Yeah.
did there.
No, it's really cool. It's super cool. Definitely check it out.
Hmm.
Especially if it's going to be under $100.
Yeah, awesome. No, I this was not something I was looking forward to or expected, but I knew there was like interest in this. I just think like Nintendo is on a constant winner. It's like they've got such a broad library of old games. So like, remember this old game? We're going to up the
Yeah,
graphics. We're going to bring it back, and everyone buys it. It's like when they brought
yeah,
back like Pokemon Yellow and
yeah,
what was it, Eevee and I was
yeah,
like
yeah,
Eevee and I don't know. It was like Pokemon Eevee. I don't know what an Eevee is. It's like that brown squirrel thing, and then
yeah,
Pikachu, and it was like, here's the original Pokemon Yellow, renew
yeah,
one, and it's like beautiful, like
yeah.
fantastic,
That's
and that art style, like it's not graphically demanding. It's really
no.
it's a clean upgrade. It looks really good. It does the trick.
Mm,
Yeah, for new like someone who's
mm,
new to this, like me, it's like that still looks fun. That looks still looks good.
mm.
I don't need more than that. Like I feel like
Yeah,
Nintendo just has this freaking library of stuff. They'd be like, yep.
yeah,
Here you go. And fans are like, holy shit! I've not played
yeah,
this game for like Super Nintendo. This is talking a
yeah.
long time ago, right?
That, that's the thing, right? Because Nintendo has like so many goated consoles, like the Super Nintendo, Nintendo
Yeah,
64.
yeah.
Like they they almost like obviously it's good to keep innovating and keep developing IP and like doing that stuff. But
Hmm.
legit, like
They don't need
these
to, do
guys,
they? They've just
if
got
they
so much
yeah,
IP that's so
yeah,
popular.
if they're feeling lazy, they literally could just pick out any one of the big
Hmm.
hitting games from the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo 64 and be
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
we're remaking it for the
Yeah.
Switch
Yes.
immediately. like
Yeah. Yeah.
immediate revenue. Like people will buy that shit. For example, like Chrono Trigger. If Chrono Trigger, they're like, yeah, where it's like Chrono Trigger
One
remastered
day,
or Chrono
dude. One
Trigger.
day. One day.
Yeah, if they release that shit and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's $400. Oh my god, I'm still
Yeah.
buying. Like,
Yeah. I know.
I don't even
Nah,
care. Like,
dude, they're saving that for like if the Switch starts going down, and the successor's not
I,
that hyped. If they're like,
I,
oh, okay, might as well put the new Chrono Trigger on. Everyone like, okay, I'll
yeah,
freaking buy the new system or whatever goes on there. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
they are just such powerhouses, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's. I guess that's what happens when you have a good foundation. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you got two consoles that are literally
Mm.
best in class. Like
Yes.
Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. Like those are
Yeah.
highly, highly, highly regarded consoles that people absolutely love and adore and grew up with. So
Yeah.
like GoldenEye, they just be like, yeah, didn't they release like GoldenEye remastered or
Yeah,
some
they
shit?
they released like a nasty rip copy of it that didn't play that well, but it was still people like, oh, GoldenEye's here. So
Yeah, like
it gets them
it's
back
still,
on the scene. It gets people playing their like Switch again, all that
yeah,
stuff.
it still hits. Like, nah, they're man, and Nintendo are freaking impressive, dude.
I
Like,
know. There, it's like so. And speaking of, like, the next big hit that we kind of wanted to cover was, like you said, you whip out an old game and
yeah,
you bring out a new one. So one thing Nintendo has not had for quite a while is a new Mario game.
hmm
The latest new Mario game was Mario Odyssey back from
yep,
2017. Pat, like the other ones they put on the Switch were like 3D Worlds, which is a rip with extra content. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, which is like a rip with
yep.
some new content. Finally, there's a new 2D Mario game.
This looks
Mario
great.
One. Have this. It
What the
looks
hell?
so, have you
Yeah,
seen this? So this is like Super Mario Brothers Wonder, the new 2D Mario game coming out later
yeah.
this year. I think it's October. Um, what? Like, you can't lose, Nintendo. You
You
can't
can't
lose.
lose.
This looks so good.
This looks
This is probably
great.
day one for me. It's just like awesome. A really creative, quirky, fun, colorful, graphically impressive. I think for the Switch, like graphically,
Yeah,
it's got a gorgeous art style.
yeah. I was about to
Um,
say, like
can't take your eyes off it, eh?
yeah,
It's,
the physics, like Mario's
yeah,
movement and stuff like that. Even just like at the start there, when he was just like standing still and he was just like doing a little bob or like doing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the physics look incredible. Like they've really upped it, and it looks like there's new mechanics, like this bowl thing going on right now, or that freezing thing would make the pipes go crazy. Like
yeah.
this, holy shit, this looks fantastic.
I
Like,
know, I know. It looks so nice. Like it just like, and it's coming out soon. Like they're just like, here's a new Mario game, and you can see there's the traditional elements of like you're going to level.
yeah,
It's still left to right platforming, but it looks so vibrant and creative. Like,
what the hell is that?
um,
Like,
yeah, I know. What is going on? What are these worlds? And I think some people were looking for the new game to have the style of the Mario movie, which, I mean, to get something of that
oh,
fidelity is very hard to do because it looks so freaking
dude,
good.
no,
Especially on the
this is
Switch.
good.
This looks
This,
good. You don't look at this and be like, oh, it's dull looking. There's nothing
yeah,
interesting going on. There is. You can tell that the moment to moment gameplay for this, which is why Mario is king of platformers, the moment to
oh,
moment gameplay. It just,
dude.
you are constantly engaged. It's all there. Look at that. Like, you don't even know what's going on half the time, but it's visually, like, and gameplay, it's captivating. It looks really
Yeah.
good.
Oh, I'm
So
gonna buy this.
yeah.
I'm gonna buy like, yeah.
So that's October, and then Super Mario RPG is November. So two big banger
Uh,
Mario games.
yeah.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I'm going to get this.
Oh,
Yeah, Elephant
my
Mario.
elephant. Yeah.
Why? Why just pick someone off the stage? It's like what? Like, I don't know who thinks of this stuff. It's like, we're going to make a new Mario game. There's going to be an elephant. There's going to be some trippy pipe stuff going on and talking flowers. And people are going to love it. So I don't know. Like Switch gamers. Yeah, the Switch gamers are just like, yeah. There's so
So
much out
impressed.
there. It's
So impressed with Nintendo. I swear to God.
I know.
I don't know how they keep doing. I don't know how they keep doing this. Like,
I don't know either. And I thought, like, so with the Nintendo Direct, there has been a lot of talk about, oh, is the Switch successor coming? And I feel like that way too, because it's been
yeah, okay, yeah,
6 years. It's kind of
yeah.
like, like there's, we have just seen Tears of the Kingdom come out with a new console. But, like, they could hang in there for another year at least, I reckon. Like, if you look at
Yeah.
this year, the
This
Switch,
thing.
they've brought out a new Zelda game, which is probably going to get Game of the Year, even
Mhm.
above Starfield or whatever's out there. and a new 2D Super Mario. That's a massive 1-2 combo that they had back in
Mhm.
2017. Then, like, Nintendo is just all systems firing. And I think I said this on the
It
last
really is.
podcast. Like, I've got a mate of mine who's bought a Switch recently. We're talking about, is it worth getting one these days? And he's bought a package of games,
Mhm.
and there's just this massive collection. He's just like, oh,
Mm.
this.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so much value. Like,
Dude.
it's a great place to start for gamers out there who just want to get in with their family themselves, with the kids. Hey, Pat.
Oh, yeah, that Mario game, that's a new generation Mario game. That's going to be for the
Yeah,
kids growing up that didn't play the old school games like us on the Nintendo or on the NES,
yeah,
you know.
true,
So
true.
that's going to be the Mario they know, and that looks like a fantastic Mario to start with
Hmm.
because it looks vibrant, it looks beautiful, the colors are all there. Like,
Yep,
can't go wrong, man. Like you said, Nintendo, all systems firing. Like,
yep.
goddamn. Even probably like even the marketing department, and even like if you really think about it, like even their
Hmm.
release times, like
Hmm.
how the hell did Tears of the Kingdom come out with no competition? Like, of course they're gonna sweep. Like,
Oh, I
of
know.
course
I
they're gonna sweep.
know.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
they
Like,
released it with like literally minimal. What's the competition? Like Redfall. Like,
yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's like there's
like,
nothing else that looks like it. There's nothing else that's as good as it. There's nothing else. And that's the funny thing. Like, yes, the Switch is aging, but Tears of the Kingdom looks freaking good. And then that
yeah,
Mario game looks freaking good. If you were a new gamer, or you're like, I'm finally getting into it after these years, or if you're like, a PlayStation or Xbox game or a PC game, you're like, I don't know about Nintendo, you could pick up a Switch, pick up this new Mario game, Tears of the Kingdom. You've got
yeah, you'd
two
be like,
likely 10 out of 10 bangers. And you would
yeah,
have a great time. You would have an
yeah.
absolute freaking great time.
Seriously, because yeah, when Tears of the Kingdom came out this year, like
Hmm.
what else came out next to it?
I
Like
like
nothing. I
there's
think like nothing.
nothing of that scale. There's been a couple of games around it, but not like
Mm.
it. So there's been Street Fighter 6, but that's for fighting like gamers. There's
Hmm.
been Diablo 4, but your Diablo 4 audience and your Tears of the Kingdom audience. Some people played
Mm.
both, but it's not comparable that way, really, is it?
No,
It's like there's nothing, and the other consoles don't have like a Tears of the Kingdom or Zelda series of that
no,
quality
they
and type.
don't.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like God of War on the PlayStation. It's like the other ones don't have something that compares. So when it
Mm.
comes out, it's like freaking massive. So
Mm. Mm.
I don't know. And then Mario RPG, like you said, like, long term Nintendo gamers
Mm.
like us, great times. New gamers,
Yep.
great times. Anyway, Pat, that's all we've got time
That's
for. But
nothing at all.
yeah, people in Perth and beyond, we hope you enjoyed this week's show. There is so much going on. There is good eating for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo gamers everywhere. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Did you have any final thoughts, Pat? Are you just a happy
Nah,
camper?
happy camper with that. Both showcases. Well done, Nintendo. Well done, Xbox. Let's
Yeah,
get it.
good times had by all. It's so good. What a time to be alive. All right, well, thank you, listeners and beyond. Have a great rest of the week. And that is PGC for this week. Over and